second, everybody. Okay. So we'll give people a few minutes to roll in. But for now, let's just place our attention at the forehead and crown and just let ourselves sink into the rhythm of this moment. You've had a vague idea that you're coming to class. Now you're here. Really be here. That sets up an intention that attracts energies to you that can assist you. Let yourself slow down. Slow down to a place where nothing has to happen. Where you're not shut down and you're not asleep, but you're not waiting for some future moment to arrive either. The space I'm talking about sits balanced on the head of a pin. Find that place and balance there. I know things feel crazy, but you have to find your center. You have to find your center so that you can decide who you are going to be. And if you can stay there, balanced, you actually set up the conditions for energy to start to fill your body. You've had that experience in this class before. But those of you who are present, you have the ability to do that right now. And it's important that you do it because that energy will fill you and it will create a buffer from the outside influences. This whole world is one big invitation to lose your balance. Everywhere you look, it's an opportunity to give your attention to something that will water imbalance inside of you. And you have to interact with some of it. So you have to control the parts you can control. Which means when you don't have to interact with it, you need to come back to your center and fill back up. It would seem like you should do that naturally. But you don't. And the reason you don't is because of fear. Whatever you're afraid of traps your attention. And then that imbalance that you want to avoid actually builds up inside of you. If you let it build long enough, it'll reflect onto the screen of your life and you'll live it out. So stepping back to your balance point really does require a firm decision. It requires your power of choice. And it might require that you relinquish a fear. Here's the thing about fear. It's not going to go away until you're okay with the worst case scenario. Most of the things that you're afraid are going to happen, they are going to happen. At some point, the unthinkable happens. The thing you've been avoiding your entire life happens. The ultimate end to every story that has a beginning, middle, and an end. So make friends with it. Make friends with your own death. Make friends with the fact that everyone's going to die. Sometimes unjustly, sometimes beautifully, but everyone and everything that you've ever loved or hated in this world is going to end. And I'm not here to bum you out. I'm here to point out that any part of you that isn't okay with that, you're not okay with it because of the meaning you've assigned to it. Not because it isn't actually okay. You need to ask yourself different questions. That thing you're afraid of happening, if it happened, how is it maybe okay? How is it maybe a good thing when that happens? Doesn't make it the just thing, but life is bigger than the context of a storyline. And the purposes of life are not to give you a good storyline. You're here to learn. You're here to grow. You came here because there's so much suffering here. It's the fastest road to personal growth. And you've grown so much from it already. All your strength comes from all the things that knocked you flat on your ass. The parts of you that had to heal after being brutally damaged. Your compassion, your understanding, it all came from that thing that you don't think should have to exist. So what if it's just okay? Okay that it exists. Not fair within the context of a storyline. But what if unfair does good? I think very few listeners will be able to swallow that one. But if you just look at your life and ask the right questions, you'll see. It's not there because I say it's there, it's just there. All your personal power has come to you via challenge. So step up and face your challenges. Open the door to assign them better meanings. And then you'll be free to really start to appreciate what this life can make happen. It's none of the things you thought you were in it for. But it is the gift this universe has to offer. And the pain is actually mitigated by acceptance. Not acceptance of injustice within the storyline. You fight against that. But acceptance of the fact that you will often lose. And that you will ultimately lose. Because that was just the deal. You'll fight battle after battle after battle until the one you can't survive. And the goal is not to avoid the battle. The goal is to reap the growth. We all know people who have had very easy lives. You wouldn't want to be them. You wouldn't be able to tolerate the dullness of their minds or the chaos they use to dull themselves from the fact that nothing's happening. This is a small group tonight. If anyone has any questions about that, or if anybody wants to push back, feel free to unmute yourself. Okay. So I want us to go into the silence. And I want you just to open yourself wide. Just don't leave a single part of yourself untouchable. Let the light, let reality, let truth touch every fiber of your living being. Step up and just face this moment. Nothing to escape. Let's do that now. Attention at the forehead and crown. Take in the entire room at once. You're breathing in this moment, so use your breath to really show up for this instant of life. If you're really open to all of it, you'll find it places you directly in the center of yourself and in the center of everything. And that center is still yet dynamic. But don't take my word for it. Go there now. I was shown an image today in my personal spiritual work. I'm wondering if I might be able to transfer it to you. I'm going to describe it to you, and I just want you to see it. I don't want you to analyze it or interpret it. Just take it in. It begins with the image of a woman's face. But something very solid, like a statue, but a living statue. Life moving through it, but very dense. But as that life moves through it, it's unearthing things. So it starts as a normal face, serene, not ecstatic, pretty. But there's energy moving through that being, and so things are getting unearthed. Things are getting pushed through the tubing of that person's energy system. And as you watch the face, it starts to look like sorrow. And then it starts to look demonic and evil. Murderous even. Like the type of person that would take joy in harming innocent people. And then malaise, fatigue, and then anger. And at the core of this being, the energy is actually intensifying. The energy hasn't changed, it's just pushing out different things as it tries to clear the system. And so you just have lifetimes after lifetimes of arrogance and greed and illicit lust and horror. And after a while, those things tone down but are still there. And then eventually what's flowing through is just clear, pure, radiant light. And the face is just beaming with comfortable happiness. Just being alive, just having a life force moving through you is daily purifying what's stuck in you. All the sensory impressions that you've taken in, some you were born with, and it's just enlivening them and projecting them out for you to have experiences. And the more you learn and let go, the more the light can intensify inside. But even as it does, even worse things get lit up. But all of that horror you're producing and that horror you're projecting onto the screen of life to be wrought upon you, all of that is a part of your ultimate awakening. It's all divine, as hard as that is to swallow. You're in a dimension of time and space where this happens quickly, and so it's challenging. There are blinds that keep you from recognizing the cause and effects of your actions, so that you have to experience it so deeply before you really get your role in it. It's a really deep clean for that reason. And it doesn't have to finish before you die in this body. This isn't where it all ends. It can. Or more likely, you'll hit a certain plateau where you have enough space around you during moments where something awful isn't coming up that you can actually see the truth of life. You know, that's most spiritual teachers. There's more to clean. There's more karma to live out. But they've gotten far enough along that the air is clear enough, the water is clear enough that you can see the nature of the pond that you're in. And it just changes it. It makes it okay. Not fun, always, but valuable and okay. So that's why I say life isn't about avoiding pain. You will try to avoid pain. That's built into the mechanism. But your efforts to avoid pain will actually cause you more pain. You know, I have about 7 things on my to-do list at any given moment that I don't want to do. And I can spend my days pushing against them in pain, or I can step right into them and experience that pain. The difference is, one actually takes you through the growth and transformation you need to go through to clear that task off your plate. The other goes nowhere. It just has you spinning around stagnant and in pain. I don't think you need to seek pain out, but you should accept the pain that comes your way. Face it with openness so that that cleansing can occur. go back into the silence and just let that percolate a little bit. Attention at the forehead and crown. Gently watch the breath while you anchor yourself in this moment. This week, I want you to spend some time facing your life in the meditative state. You know, you can get there sitting on your cushion or your seat or wherever you sit, but then get up and from that place, walk into the things that you have difficulty with. And I want you to just open a door. To be willing to see how those things are maybe okay. The things that you've pushed against, the things that you just don't think you can live with. Just open a door. To ask for understanding of the role that those things play in a picture that's larger than you as a personality. There is no picture larger than you as a reality. What serves reality serves you. But bigger than you as a personality. The best thing would be for you to just kind of open yourself and just wait for understanding to download. But if that's not working for you, you can always journal. And a lot can come through a journal. Sometimes just getting it down on paper anchors it into this physical reality in a way that's useful. For me, I will sit and let it download, and then I will write it down. Because when your consciousness shifts, a lot of times you forget what got downloaded. It's in there. Everything I've ever said to you is in there too. But your consciousness has to get to a place that's close to where you were when you heard it for it to really enliven. This is the same. Is there any questions anybody has about anything we talked about tonight? Hey, Suki, I know you missed a lot of the talking, but we'll put up a recording.
Okay, thanks.
All right, everybody. I will be here next Thursday, I hope. And have a good week. Thank you. Have a good night.